Let us explore the intersection between meditation, ego, and Zen. Anybody who has taken Psych 101 will recognize a disparity, a difference between the way many American Zen practitioners use the word ego and the way Sigmund Freud used the word ego. You see, Sigmund Freud, who really brought the word ego from its Greek into its contemporary parlance, he said that ego was the rational mediating factor between the two extremes of the id and the idealistic superego. And around that, he had a whole very complex system. But when we listen to many American Zen practitioners speak, the ego they describe is not the rational mediator between two extremes. They describe something that they call ego or self as the opponent to no self or not self or anatta, if you prefer Pali or Sanskrit. This comes into greater clarity when we look at Zen through the lens of the Tao Te Ching. For it has been posited by many historians that Zen really was supposed to be the practice of contemporary Taoism made palatable to a Buddhist culture with the use of traditional Buddhist nomenclature or terminology. From the perspective of the Tao Te Ching, the yin would be no self or anatta, and the yang would be the antithesis of that, the self to the no self, if you would. It's very, very sad that the majority of contemporary American Zen enthusiasts have lost touch with the roots of their tradition that are found in the Tao Te Ching. Why is that so? Because in Zen, as with every spiritual tradition, the people who wind up running the tradition after a few generations are very different from the people who found the traditions. Many times, spiritual traditions are founded by luminaries who are traversing the path of yin, even if they don't use that same terminology. Within a generation or so, sometimes sooner, people who are best described as political animals on the path of yang, a path of patriarchy, a path of aggression, rigidity, control, fear, domination, coercion. They seep in. Consider, if you will, the Catholic Church. Consider, if you will, two historically renowned Catholics. On one hand, you have Thomas de Torquemada of the Spanish Inquisition. On the other hand, you have Saint Francis, hey, is that a bird? Assisi. Two men, both using the same Catholic architecture, but, or better yet, same Catholic alphabet, but that which they spelled with that alphabet was completely different. Why? Why were they so different? Because one was on the path of yin, the other on the path of yang. One was on the path of no self, also known as love. Other was on the path of self, also known as pride. Regardless of which scripture or which spiritual tradition you rely on, this dichotomy can be seen across the ages and across the map, that there are men and women of love and men and women of pride, completely different. Now, there are some remarkably clever people on the path of yang. And they might compose an elaborate justification saying that their acts of coercion and control are really acts of love. And such things might fool the weak-minded. But they will not fool the wise. For cleverness is no substitute for wisdom, just as yang is no substitute for yin, and self is no substitute for no self. Got questions? Then jot them down in the comment area below the video. My name is Lama Jigme Gyatso, and this is the Buddha Joy Meditation School.